Well, it's that time of the week again. Fox Sports Lab, NRL. I'm Eloise Sohier, as always, joined with Josh Morris. Josh, a massive weekend of footy. So a few upsets, a couple of massive wins as well. How did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I liked it. But what is intriguing is that the top eight still isn't decided. I mean, last round, and we've still got games that can potentially decide the eight. And then also on the weekend, we saw a number of injuries to key players in key positions for teams. So that's a bit of a shake-up and a bit of a worry for some teams heading into the finals.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to those injuries in a moment. A few key playmakers that are on ice at the moment. Let's get a Premiership market update. Panthers, $2.50. Broncos, $3. Storm, $6.50. Warriors, $11. I suppose Panthers' loss and the upset to the Eels on Thursday night has probably brought them in, or the Broncos, giving them a little bit of a head up heading into the finals.
Yeah, I think that margin has closed on the back of that Luai injury. Jack Cogger is there, but we know that the X factor that Jerome Luai has, it's kind of like the Panthers will have two halves now. So that brings them in a little bit. They're hoping that he'll be back for a preliminary final. I know that shoulders are pretty hard to come back from, and you have to do a lot of strength work to get them right. So, they've got a bit of a test there with him. And for the Broncos, they obviously missed Adam Reynolds and Pat Carrigan on the weekend, but they still managed to get the job down there in Canberra. So, I think they've shortened a little bit, and the Panthers may be looking over their shoulders at them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly touching on that Thursday's game, we know that the Eels, their season is well and truly done. They can't play finals. I suppose the fans are wondering where that form was in recent weeks when the season was on the line. But for Penrith, do you think it was a bit of a long time coming considering the consecutive win trot that they were on?
Yeah, I think you'd rather have a loss just before the final starts than the finals. And that was a bit of a wake-up call. They were a bit clunky. Obviously, they suffered the injury to Luai, and then Parramatta just played more physical. They were more upbeat, and they managed to get the job done. And for a Para fan, you are scratching your head wondering where was this form all year. I mean, they did have a lot of injuries to start the season. They lost a couple of players from the previous year. They definitely weren't the side that they were last year, and they have a lot of questions to answer in the preseason.
In more positive news, the Warriors secured a top four spot for the first time since 2007. That is absolutely massive for them. They're doing wonderful things across there under Andrew Webster. There was an injury, though, to Metcalf as well, and also to Tohu Harris is in doubt to play this weekend and maybe even in the finals. That's a massive blow for them, but I'm sure they're sort of keeping focus at the job at hand and ensuring that they just get this last round done before they turn their full attention to the finals.
Yeah, Metcalf, the injury there, a hamstring injury, that's a bit of a concern there. He is a very quick player, and that limits him there, and he may not come back depending on the severity of that. But they do have Tamari Martin there, who has played in the grand final. So that's a bit of a like-for-like replacement there. But Tohu Harris, he's been outstanding for them. He's battled injuries all year as well. So he's one of those blokes that can play injured and still manage to get through the game. So I wouldn't be as concerned with Harris as I am with Metcalf.
Okay, we welcomed back Pappenhausen into the NRL over the weekend. What did you make of his performance returning for the Storm? He looks like he really never left the game.
Yeah, look, it was solid. 18 minutes, and he got in there and had a couple of touches and just went about his business. He came in and played in the halves, and Meany stayed in at fullback there with the injury to Jerome Hughes. Another one there where we're hoping that it's not too severe because we want to see Melbourne have their best side on the park. I think if they do, they can challenge. But without Hughes in that spine, I don't think they can challenge. But Pappenhausen, look, that was great to see him back. It had been over 400 days since he played. They had the Pappenhausen Wigs down there in Melbourne, so they got right behind him, and it was just good to see him back out on a footy field again. So he'll be happy he got through. Played limited minutes, but they might use him in that role. I think we saw in the start of his career, Craig Bellamy used him off the interchange as well, and he came on and played around the middle of the ruck and was dangerous when he came on the field. So he may do that again, and he may go the other way and decide to put him in at fullback, albeit at the expense of Nick Meany, who's been outstanding there this year.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, I suppose. Does it create a bit of a headache for Craig Bellamy because Nick Meany has been doing such a great job at fullback, but you need to have Pappenhausen in that starting 17?
Yeah, I think so. But I guess this is where the injury to Hughes plays a key role as well. If he is injured, well, then Meaney can slide straight into the halves. He's played 5'8" this year, and he'll be fine in the halves. So I think if Hughes is out, I think that'll be the more likely scenario that will play out.
Obviously, the Broncos went down to GIO Stadium. They got the job done. Ricky Stewart was pretty frustrated and didn't mince his words after the game. Reece Walsh took a hit from Tarpany. That was huge. Do you think that was fair play?
It is fair play, Eloise. If you're going to stand there and not go down, well, then you're free for the taking. And Joseph Tarpany, he didn't miss at all. But hey, he got up with a smile on his face. He shook it off. He said, "Good hit." And I mean, that's what you get and you like to see. And I'm sure he won't make that mistake again. But if they don't have Reece Walsh in that side on the weekend, they don't win that game. He was outstanding. He was involved in a number of try assists, scored a try himself. And they, as I said, they did it without Carrigan and Adam Reynolds. So great signs there for Ricky. I mean, the call on the escort was minimal, and I could see his frustration. We've seen things like that let go all year, and it is one of those things where the refereeing at the moment, you just don't know what you're going to get. And with Ricky, he's a passionate person. He wanted to get the win there. It was the last home game for Jared Croker and Jack White. Wanted to send them out with a win. Obviously, didn't happen, and he let his frustrations get the better of him. But you can definitely not question Ricky's, I guess, his passion for his side.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at the Broncos side and what they were able to do, you said, they couldn't really get the job done or perform as well with Reece Walsh and the team. They were missing Pat Carrigan. What do you see in terms of the Broncos and Penrith, the top two sides? Who's got the leg up at the moment, or where do they need to match each other in order to come out on top?
Yeah, well, they play differing styles. Sorry, the Panthers like to use their interchange of passing with their forwards and use kind of angle changes, and Isaiah Yo's at the forefront of that. But the Broncos is more a power game. It's more we're just going to take you on through the middle and see if you can handle us, and then off the back of those quick play balls, then the likes of Reece Walsh comes in. And the kicking game of Adam Reynolds as well. I mean, Nathan Cleary and Adam Reynolds, they're two of the best halves in the game, and their kicking games decide matches for their teams. So I think with their attack, they differ a little bit, but I think that they could be a good matchup in the grand final.
Yeah, absolutely. Just lastly, the Knights, they are just on fire. They claimed another win. I think a lot of people probably didn't think it was going to be the scoreline that it was, and probably expected the Sharks to probably put up more of a fight. Caleb Ponga, obviously an injury concern with that shoulder, and he went off, and it has been confirmed as a high-grade AC joint strain. What do we make of all of that?
Yeah, well, if it's a high-grade AC joint, they are nasty. They are very painful. You can't really lift your hand above your head. Every time he gets tackled, he'll feel that. When he throws a pass, he will feel that. So that's not good news for the Knights, but they have a lot of momentum behind them. They still had a number of players out on the weekend as well. For the Sharks, they were really only missing Nico, but they really struggled. They got first points on the board through Connor Tracy, but then after that, they didn't threaten at all. And the Knights really ran away with it. The crowd got behind them. They had the Knights Old Boys Day there, and they played some outstanding football, albeit with the injury to Kalen Bonga. I think they deserve to be in the finals.
Yeah, absolutely. Just lastly, this race for the top 8, we still don't have it confirmed, as you mentioned at the top of the show. Who claims 8th spot? If we look at the market, they're favouring the Raiders at $1.25, then the Rabbitohs at $1.91, Roosters $2, Cowboys $3.10. It's pretty tight between those top 3. Who do you want to see get into the 8, and who do you think's going to get into the 8?
Yeah, well, look, the Raiders play the Sharks, so that's going to be another cracking game. The Cowboys play Penrith. Do Penrith rest their stars, or do they shake off last week's loss and put in a full-strength side? And then you have the game beside Souths and the Roosters, which is always a massive clash. That's going to be a fiery one. They're missing several key players, obviously. Latrell's out, Jared Warrior-Hargraves is out, and Joey Manu is 50-50. For me, I'll probably lean towards the Roosters. I think if they can get the win, I think they can slide into the 8. But if we're talking about it, do we honestly think the bottom 8 can challenge the top top four. I just don't see them being able to win 4 games in a row to claim the grand final. So whilst it is a nice reward for them to make the finals, do they go further? I'm not too sure.
Or will we told on the weekend another chapter in the book of feuds between the Roosters and the Rabbitohs. Josh Morris, thanks so much for your time. As always, we'll chat later in the week to preview the last round of the season.
Thank you, Eloise. Have a good day.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.